I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about TEC Edmonton, why it exists, why it's of interest to me, and why it should be of interest to you. And I'm maybe going to delve just slightly into some policy issues, and hopefully that will be of interest to you. And then I'm happy to answer any questions or discuss any other things that you want to talk about. So TEC Edmonton transforms technologies into business. That's a bit of a tagline, but in summary, that's really what it does. And why does TEC Edmonton exist, and where did it come from? So it came out of this problem, which is still a significant problem and still plagues regions, universities, governments, all around the world. And there's no real answer to these problems, but our problem here in particular is that we have a terrible record in Canada in innovation, despite the fact that we are an excellent country for research. So many reasons for that. I won't go into them all, and you might even debate some of these. You might say some of these aren't true, but the fact is we don't have a great record in Canada of turning technology into commercially successful companies. There's been historically a belief, if I come to the second point, that technology and patents create wealth. And I think we all know that they're very important ingredients, but they're not the only thing by any means into what's required to create new organizations. The third point, which is, I really know hands-on, is most new ventures fail. So the company that I came from for the last 15 years, Microline, worked with customers around the world to develop new MEMS products. And many of the customers were large, well-established companies, and many were small startups. And the fact is, most of the startups failed. And you'd look at these things, and they'd appear to have all the ingredients that they needed for success. Good technology, an excellent management team, lots of financing, good lead customers, everything that you would think ought to be the ingredients for success, and yet many of them still fail. Some don't, and some succeed, but it's a tough game, and so there's many things that need to be done to make ventures succeed. And then finally, we know that the government of Alberta's innovation services have been very fragmented until recently, and they still are, because they've got the vision for what they're going to do, but they haven't fully implemented it yet. So despite all that, there are some great opportunities, in particular in Alberta. We have a wealthy, well-educated, and diverse population. And I was going to put a graph in here, but I wasn't permitted to use it, that shows that Calgary has the highest GDP per capita in the country, and Edmonton is second, and it's significantly higher than the rest of the country. It's not just marginally higher, it's a lot higher. So Alberta really has a lot of wealth and a very well-educated population. We do have a strong will in the province and in the city to create the right ingredients for innovation. So that's good. Clearly, we have one of Canada's best and largest universities, $500 million of research done at the University of Alberta per year. And interestingly enough, I got this information from an organization called AUTM, Association of University Technology Managers. U of A has a pretty good commercialization record. U of A has 74 startups that have spun out of the university that are still operational. And if you place U of A in a comparison of all U.S. universities, that places U of A 7th. So it's pretty good. Now, it doesn't say anything about how big those companies are. I don't have that data, but it's just one data point that says that despite the fact that we think it's tough to create businesses, and it is, U of A doesn't do too badly in this area. We have an excellent sort of commercial economy here. We've got all sorts of successful small, medium-sized enterprises, many of them, of course, not in the technology space, but there is a really good business, commercial, entrepreneurial culture here in Edmonton. And we have well-established regional service provider infrastructure. So elements of bringing the problems together with a solution really started back in 2005 when the government of Alberta, the university, and the city all said, okay, the university does all this stuff, and it patents and it licenses technology, and then we expect there to be great commercial outcomes. And there was a recognition that that's not enough, that all the great technology has to be linked with many other things to help create successful companies. And so they created TEC Edmonton in 2005, which is a joint venture between the city and the university with funding from the province and the federal government and the city and the university. And its intent is to bring together a broad variety of services and customize those to whatever is needed by particular startups and particular opportunities. And the focus is to create new companies in the region, not for TEC Edmonton to get rich as an organization by itself, or not just to license technologies to faraway places. And then that's continued on in 2010 with the province creating what we might call a strategic innovation system and reorganizing the way they deliver innovation services and fund innovation services. And the intent of that is to streamline the delivery and to create more linkages between institutions and various service providers. So that hasn't been fully implemented yet, but it's underway. So organizations like ours, which are called regional service providers, are set up. There aren't actually that many. TEC Edmonton is an example. There's an organization in Toronto called Mars. There's many other examples of these community-based organizations, but not that many yet. To a large extent, if you go to universities, they would still predominantly have industry liaison offices which patent and license technologies. So elements of what is being sought with an organization like TEC Edmonton is community governance, which means that it's not a single institution determining what's going to be done. It's bringing together elements from around the community to help bring all the ingredients together for success. Broad range of services, a not-for-profit, as I mentioned earlier, so that the organization doesn't exist for its own commercial ends. It exists to create commercial success in its client companies. Has to know how to work with local institutions from an IP management point of view, and has to collaborate broadly with other organizations around the region. So those are elements of what TEC Edmonton was set up to do. So what it is, I've told you what it is a technology business accelerator, so I won't go into a lot more detail about that. And this is our mission statement. So through our people, our networks, our programs, and our facilities, our aim is to help create Edmonton as a center for innovation that is renowned around the world, that is known as one of the best regions in the world for commercialization by helping to build successful innovation-based companies. And we help people commercialize technology, whether it comes from university or not from university. But it's the job of an organization like TEC Edmonton to help startups that don't have all these find and put these kinds of things together. So we do that through a variety of services. One main one is what we call technology transfer, which is the traditional industry liaison office things like patenting and licensing and working with researchers. But in addition, we do a whole lot of other things that we lump under an umbrella called company development. And that's really a lot of customized kinds of services that we put under a heading called business mentoring. So it's business advice, marketing advice, financing advice, intellectual property advice, corporate development strategy, and whatever companies need, if they're startups in that space, if we can help them, we'll customize what we do to help them with whatever their most pressing challenges are. And in addition, we work with research organizations and centers of excellence to create commercialization strategies for early stage technologies coming out of universities. We have a service whereby entrepreneurs or inventors can just knock on the door, and we have some senior people that will sit down with them, talk to them about what they're trying to do, assemble for free advisors from around the community, so perhaps investors, bankers, lawyers, accountants, to just give them an hour or two of advice on things that they might do to help get their company further ahead from where it is. We have a group called Strategic Partnerships, which helps our clients find non-dilutive financing, which is important in the early stages. We have something called Venture Prize, which is, as it sounds, it's a competition for business plan development, and it also has a lot of mentoring kind of elements that go along with it. We have an incubator in the Enterprise Square downtown, and we have what we call a student entrepreneurship program, where we provide mentoring and training, and we hire students on an intern basis. So those are a variety of the things that we do. And finally, I'll just say that we don't do this by ourselves. We're really part of a regional and provincial and national framework. So this is the regional framework, whereby there are many, many different parties who are involved in this kind of thing, and Ken's organization is one of them. Ken and I know each other well, and we've worked together for a number of years. And ACAMP is one of those other service providers, and he'll tell you about ACAMP, but there's many others. So Edmonton Research Park is one. NATE offers an incubator-type service. There's BusinessLink that provides assistance to people seeking to get non-technical kinds of organizations off the ground. NABI is a St. Albert organization. There's what used to be called ARC, which does well, a whole lot of different things, but a lot of natural sciences product development. And so organizations like TEC Edmonton certainly don't succeed by themselves. They succeed by being part of an ecosystem.